Well, my guest today is Chris Yapp, who played Tommy Tucker on the Playdays singer-song Sixpence tour in 2000. So please welcome Chris Yapp. So hi, Chris. And my first question is, how did you got to get in the theatre business?
Quite similar to the other chap you're speaking to. I started off Amdram as a child, so I was doing Sound of Music, Anything Goes from the age of 12, and then I applied to the Welsh College of Music and Drama once I'd finished my A levels. Luckily, got in there, and yeah, been working as a professional actor since 1999 now.
How did you get to be in the singer-song Sixpence tour by Playdays?
Auditioned for it. My agent put me up for it. It was my first job at a drama school.
Mhm.
Went in, met the director. Um, yeah, sang a song, did a dance, told a few jokes.
Mhm.
Luckily enough, got the job.
Can you tell us the plot of that tour, please?
uh, so it was 25 years ago, so I'm a little bit rusty.
Tell
But
us.
the basic story was there were four of us in the cast, and we were playing all of the nursery rhyme characters. And the Knave of Hearts had stolen the tarts, and
Mhm.
we, for some reason, then had to find the blackbirds to make the pie for the king.
Mm.
And it was utterly bonkers, but
Mhm.
brilliant.
The strange thing about that too was it didn't have Mr. Jolly in it or the bus driver previous tours they didn't do.
No, we had Poppy the Cat, Peggy Patch, and Bird, and then on that show we had Pokeroo, which was a brand new character, which I think originally was Canadian,
Mm.
and as part of it, I had to learn the voice because live on stage and recorded, I was the voice of it, but one of the actresses was in the skin character doing all of the actions.
Was it like doing a children's TV show on stage and playing your character?
It was my first job out of drama school, and I kind of thought that it's kids theatre, it's going to be loud, it's going to be fun, but it was almost like a rock concert because once the kids saw Bird or Peggy Patch, they would just scream, and the noise was I yeah, it was interesting as my first job.
Yeah, I was one of the kids because I saw it in Nottingham when it came to Nottingham.
Really?
Yes.
So you know exactly how bonkers it was then.
Yeah, I only remember we did song Little Miss Muffet. That was the only memory I got of that show.
So you don't remember Tommy Tucker or the big blackbirds rapping?
And I only remember Polkaroo as well. That was it.
Well, that was I was the voice of Pokeroo.
Mhm. Who was the cast on that tour and what characters did they play?
So there was me, there was another actor called Stephen who played the Knave of Hearts. I think he was the only one of us that didn't double up as another character. He was just the Knave of Hearts.
Mhm.
Then there was me. I played Tommy Tucker, the old woman that lived in the shoe, the Grand Old Duke of York, the voice of Polkaroo, one of the crows in black. Um, then there was Sarah, who was Polkaroo. She also was the voice of Bird and Poppy the cat, I think, as well as playing various other characters. We had, um, yeah, and then there was Rachel, who was the voice of Peggy Patch, and in our version, Peggy Patch came to life. So she was only a puppet for the first scene, and then
Mhm.
there was a big magical reveal as Rachel came out dressed as human-sized Peggy Patch, which the kids always loved.
Yeah, I remember when Piggy Patch came alive on stage. Did you met any of the TV performers or play days?
Not from Playdays, but Freddie Marks,
Mhm.
who wrote the script for it, was Rod, Jane, and Freddie from um, Rainbow. So that was probably the closest we got to meeting someone from the telly shows.
Because it was very similar. They did a tour a couple of years back called Playdays New Adventures, which is a very similar concept with the nursery rhyme characters. I think Justin Fletcher played Mr. Jolly on that tour.
Oh, but I didn't see that one. That was good to know it's still going.
Yeah, I put the cassette on YouTube if it is out there.
I think you can. We actually recorded all of the songs for Sing a Song of Sixpence. So I think if you look really, really hard, you might find one of them somewhere. I think
I,
I've got one.
I'm trying to find a cassette of it, and I can't find one anywhere to put on YouTube.
I did buy one for one of my nephews, so they might have one somewhere.
Did you ever travel in the actual TV play bus?
We didn't, unfortunately, because it wasn't featured in our story. We didn't ever get to do anything like that for promotional videos or photos. So we just traveled around in a very basic grey van.
Mhm. What are the highlights on those tours?
I think playing some of those theatres because it was a number one UK tour. It was my first job at a drama school. We did, I think, 56 venues in 9 months. And I'm Bristolian, so we came to Bristol and we were at the Bristol Hippodrome, which was the theatre I used to go to as a child. And you got to see backstage there. I got to sign the back of the Iron Curtain when that came in. So that was a highlight for me.
Do you have any funny moments for playing those characters, or any funny moments from that show?
Lots. I don't think a single show ever went completely right. Um, I remember at one stage, one of the actresses um, was starting to lose her voice,
Mhm.
and the characters, because there was only four actors, some of it was recorded, some of it was performed live.
Mm.
So we had an instance where Rachel had completely lost her voice, and she was the voice of one of the characters. No, she was Wybird, and she obviously, Wybird is a
Mm.
very Welsh accent.
Mm.
So we've got some of it recorded, but she can't do any of it live.
Mm.
So we had a company stage manager in the wings on a microphone trying to do the Welsh accent for the bits that Rachel couldn't do. And there was a moment where she couldn't do that. So then, because I'm half Welsh, suddenly I get handed a microphone and I'm having to do the voice of Wybird. And I just remember being in the wings and looking out into the audience at these kids being utterly confused that Wybird suddenly turned into a man. Yeah, so that's probably the funniest.
Do you ever still keep in contact with any of the cast and crew from that tour?
Because it was so long ago, I've lost touch with most of them, but I'm still in touch with Sarah, who was Poppy the cat. Um, yeah, so we've kept in touch through the magic of Facebook, and we can see each other's families. We've now all got kids of our own, which is really sweet.
Yeah, I tried to get some photographs from this show, and it was so hard because I contacted Andrew, who did the sound. He said hi, and he hasn't got a program or something.
No, there is definitely one in my house somewhere, but we've moved so many times since I've done that show that I think it's packed safely away in a box somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have any video footage or audio or any memorabilia from those show that tour?
So, because it was so long ago, there was no video was ever made of it,
Mhm.
which is such a shame because, as you'll know, it as bonkers as it was magical. It was so colourful. The costumes were amazing. The horses that we had for the Grand Old Duke of York were so incredible. The set was beautiful.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was kind of pre social media, so they've all probably been put in a locked box somewhere.
Mhm. Do you do any other children's theatre after Playdays?
Yeah, I did loads. Um, so I did a tour for Shakespeare for Kids.
Mm.
So going into schools as well as theatres, and we did the Scottish play. I was lucky enough a couple of years back, say a couple of years, it's probably 13, 14 years ago, I was in the original cast of the UK tour of Going on a Bear Hunt.
Yeah.
And it was so long ago I played the son, and
Mhm.
now I'm probably too old to play the father.
Mhm. Do you think children's theatre has changed when you did those shows?
Yes, hugely. Um, when we did Playdays, it was a full-on piece of musical theatre, and the first act was an hour and 10 minutes, and the second act was an hour, which, looking back, was far too long, probably
Mm.
for the concentration, and which made it a really tough job. Nowadays, you'll go to see children's theatre; it's normally under an hour straight through, and is the difference that I saw when I did Going on a Bear Hunt was that it was almost so it was created in a way that the children could do it themselves at home. So it wasn't always this magical spectacle. It was you can go home and recreate this so that 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 experience of the theatre isn't just about what's going on in that room. It's taking that creativity
Mm.
out of the theatre, which I think is really important.
What's the best advice for someone who want to get into this business?
You've got to really want it. I think if it's something that you're just interested in, and you want to have a go at it, I wouldn't bother. It's got to be the one thing that you wake up in the morning wanting to do. Because if you haven't got that passion or that drive, there are so many knockbacks, and especially since COVID, because obviously so many theatre companies have now collapsed. There's far less work than there was before, and it was thin on the ground before. So you've just got to be really passionate, and it's got to be that one thing above all others that you want to do.
My last question is, what are you doing nowadays?
So I'm a father. I've been a stay-at-home father. I'm still acting. I had a lovely telly job not long ago on The Offenders because I'm Bristol based. And I've also gone into primary education as well. So I'm trying to bring all of my loves together and bringing performance into primary education.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to try to get that Sing a Song with Sixpence cassette on YouTube.
That would be amazing if you could.
Yeah, and also there's no programs on the internet or any flyers, so I can't get any photographs or anything.
No, because we sold those ourselves. So we travelled in this big grey van, and we had all of that in the lorry with us. And I don't think there were many left. And I think what happened at the end is they were just sadly thrown in the bin.
All right, thank you so much, Chris.
Lovely chatting to you, Ben.
Cheers.